Welcome back to the CMB Sports Show. I'm your host, Braylon Brakefield. Along with me from the garage is my good friend Cole Lepchitz. Cole, what's up?
What's up, man? Yeah, I'm just coming at you live from Coleman Coliseum. Um, the Alabama basketball team just got back. They flew in at about 8:30. They just got out of here. They were running suicides for not being big enough against Purdue today. I actually saw Grant Nelson grew about an inch, so he might be a problem coming into the SEC play.
Got a lot of stretching going on down there in Tuscaloosa. Just in case you run into Purdue in the tourney,
Yeah,
you got to be taller. You
yeah,
want to
just
be
got
taller next time you see them.
got to be taller, got to be better. We didn't want to show them everything we had this time. We wanted to foul them a lot, kind of think like, hey, these guys aren't good enough. And I think we did a good job of showing that. They're not as big as me. So, I think he's feeling pretty confident right now. We're just ready to chop him down next time we see him. Got him right where we want him.
It should be against the rules for how tall he is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just really frustrating. I want college basketball players to stay around longer, except for him. I feel like he's been there for a decade. And it's like, dude, go to the NFL. I mean, not the NFL. I mean, probably that too. Go to the NBA. What are you doing? Dude's an animal, though. Like, he's just he made all of his free throws, which is crazy. So you can't just
That's
hack him.
that's
It's
exactly what I was pulling up right now because I've watched him play twice now this year, maybe three times. Yeah, three times. And every time it's just like he hits. You can't hack him because he hits his free throws. I just pulled it up. He's at 7.33% right now, and he shot 7.34% last year from free throw. So that's which he was 6.49 the year before. So that's obviously something that he's worked on to prevent that from happening. And
yeah. How tall is he exactly?
he's 7'4".
I mean, that's ridiculous.
It really is.
But it's crazy. I mean, I guess just because he makes twos all the time, but like you're like, I mean, yeah, I just feel like he should be scoring more. Like he scored 35 today. And it's like, I mean, there was a couple times where he like could have like finished hard where he kind of faded away or something, for just see if he had it in the bag that day, I guess. I don't know, but he is ridiculous. And then them as a team is ridiculous because like he just opens up the floor for everybody. And I mean, they obviously have the guys to be able to take advantage of that. So I don't know. I thought we played pretty good. I mean, I thought we shot like lights out. So, I mean, that's cool to see, like, traveling like that and coming out and playing good against a big team. But, at the same time, I think we're kind of past that point of being happy about playing against or playing good against good teams. Like we want to win those games on a neutral floor. Um, so, definitely kind of disappointing, but I do like, when you look at the big picture going into the SEC play, going into this tough stretch out of conference, like I don't hate where we're at. Like I don't, um, no, I don't like a moral victory kind of mentality, but I think you can play good and lose at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, there are like moral victories and losses, or that's kind of like a loser mentality. But in basketball, these early games, like it's a real thing. Like some of these losses are going to help. Like I said that earlier in the year with Auburn, like losing to was it Baylor first game of the
Yeah,
year is like
yeah,
we had that game in the bag and then kind of choked it away. So it's kind of like that's a game you can learn from early on, first game of the year instead
yeah,
of having to learn that lesson in the tournament like some teams do.
yeah,
But
for
Edie
sure.
Edie averaged 22 and 13 last year and one player of the year. He's at 23.7 and 11 right now, which is insane.
It's crazy.
He's third in points per game right now.
That's wild. Um, I do got to give a shout out to Marcus Spears. I mean, he was out of his mind today. Scored 35. I don't know what he shot from three. I was gonna pull it up and forgot, but it was something ridiculous. I mean, he put Edie on the floor one time with the step back, and it was absolutely nasty. And he just was lighting it up. Uh, and finished at the rim a couple times. So cool to see. I'm really glad he stayed. Uh, um, what's his name? I just said his name. Nelson.
Pierce. Oh,
Uh,
Nelson.
also looked pretty good today too. I mean, he's like just kind of unpolished. I think. Um, Definitely has room to grow. Like he's just real. Like sometimes he gets out of control. Uh, and it hurts us. But definitely something you can work on.
Yeah, I didn't realize y'all had two guys that were 6'10". Also, this was the first game that I've noticed Bediako wasn't there. I actually asked you, I was like, where is he?
Yeah,
And you said he went to the draft, and I was like, oh, I thought it was like a military situation. Like they called his name. He
yeah,
had the perfect build, but no, I mean, I guess you said he's in the G League somewhere.
yep, yeah. That's one I don't really get. I think he played a little bit at the beginning of the year, like with the big team, and then got sent down or whatever. Maybe he's like back and forth a lot, but yeah, I just don't get out with NIL. I get that the goal is to go to the NBA, but with NIL now, um, you're at a big school in a cool city in a cool state, like if you're not gonna like play in the NBA, why not just play in college and have like a legit title run? Um, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just have too much pride for my school, and I kind of get it, but at the same time, like I don't get it. Like you can be one of the best players on your team or best players in the conference and make you know good money. Uh, you know, I don't get it. I don't know. Winning and you get paid sounds like a pretty good deal to me,
And you up your draft stock. Like pre NIL, I think it's a whole different conversation where some of these
for
guys who
sure.
come from like backgrounds where they don't have a ton of money, it's like, yeah, I have to go to the NBA as quick as I can to get paid, take care of my family. But now and with NIL, like you can get paid just as good for playing in college and like you said, have a chance at a title and those deep runs, you show out in those deep runs, you can up your draft stock a ton.
Absolutely, absolutely. But
Auburn,
yeah, how'd the boys look today?
so I didn't get to watch a ton of the Bama games since Auburn was playing. I watched a little when we were at halftime, and I watched the first like probably 10 minutes or so until the Auburn game started. I actually missed the start of the Auburn game by a little bit because I was watching Purdue Alabama, and I turned it on. It's like 24-10, I think is what it was, maybe something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, or it's 22-10, I think. Next thing you know, it's literally I said I was typing out. We're fixing to get run out of the gym. By the time I typed that out and looked up, it was 22-16. And I was like,
Man,
wait a second. And then all of a sudden it's like 52 to 30 something at half. And we,
yeah,
we scored 52 in both halves. The final score is 104 to 76. And this Aiden Holloway kid might be the best scorer on the planet.
think
Like
so.
he is unbelievable. Like some of the stuff, some of the like short mid range shots he throws up to be as small as he is, he just has that like touch just right off the glass of
Yeah.
like John I had 2 points tonight. That's our best player. He had 2 points. We scored 104. Jalen Williams had 24. Aiden had 24. KD got the boys going. We get a steal, get it down to him. Like we got a steal in their side of the court. Got it to him down low. He scores. Then draws an offensive foul on the inbound play.
Oh man.
Ball goes back to us. We score again. That's I mean, 4 point swing at least. Really, it's probably more than that because they had the ball 3 times right there and didn't get anything. We got it twice off turnovers. I mean, it was awesome. Like right before halftime, we started clicking and it was like everything we touched was going in. And
Yeah.
it was so much fun. Like this team is gonna be so much fun to watch all year.
Yeah, I think I mean if you guys score 100, you're going to be tough to beat just because you play such good defense and I mean a lot of those guys like it's no secret a lot of those guys have been there for 4 years, 3 years. They've played with each other a lot, besides
Aiden.
Aiden and Nomar Mazzara and the kid from UAH. And but I mean they seem like pretty like I don't know about the kid from UAH. He seems a little raw a little bit, but I know Aiden and that other guy are pretty athletic and kind of just plug and play. So I think that you guys are going to be pretty good. It is y'all's year out of the agreement, so go do it.
And I don't think Indiana's like a great team. I definitely
Yeah.
think
What
Indiana's
happened to
like
them?
I mean, they're 7-2 on the year. So I mean it isn't like they're horrible. I mean, they just beat Michigan, who's kind of on a down year, beat Maryland and Harvard. I think they're like a perfectly decent team.
Yeah, I just saw. I think we were talking about it earlier, but like or maybe I saw it on Twitter. Like they average like four threes a game or something like that. It's like, huh? Like that is just so weird to hear from Indiana. But I mean, everybody has a down year. Like it's not nobody's and or it's not impossible. But
They hit 4 on us in about the first 3 minutes.
that's what
I
I
think
saw.
I think they had 4 was their most in a game or something. It might have been average, like you said. I don't remember exactly what the stat was, but they hit 4 on us quick. And I was like, oh no. And the next thing you know, everything started clicking for us. Y'all were shooting the ball well today too.
Oh
That
yeah,
white guy, how tall is he? Like 6'8"?
the real skinny guy.
Yeah.
Dude, I think that's really all he does. Like he's a bigger body. He's not real physical, but like you put him in the corner and swing it around to him and he's gonna be drained. Um and like he's just so like quirky, like that when he is in the lane, he draws a lot of fouls, and of course he hits his free throws. So he's crazy. I can't remember his name. Um new guy freshman. He's like a top 100 whoa, top 100 player. And I don't know. He's pretty good though. Yeah, he shoots it well. Um, the Estrada guy shoots it well. So I mean, we have the right talent. I just don't know. I think we're probably a year away. Uh, realistically, which is kind of unfortunate because guys like Sears and I guess I mean I don't know. Um, why do I keep Grant Nelson? I keep forgetting his name. I don't know how old he is. I know he's a transfer, so he might be gone. I mean, he is like a 6'11" wing player, so there's not many of those running around. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think it's one of those we'll get better as the season goes on, and hopefully we peak at the right time, in SEC play. But I don't know. I like I didn't get to watch you guys today. I usually watch Auburn play just so I can kind of be able to like see what's going on and it's I'd rather watch Auburn play than like anybody else really, like teams that I know, just like watching Kentucky or LSU or whatever. But um, I mean, you guys are pretty good. Like I've watched like Aiden Holloway is the kind of guy like if he's spot up, if you let him get his feet set, like it's going in. And you guys just have that experience on the starting five and off the bench too. Like y'all are pretty deep, kind of like we are. So I don't know, man. We could be at the top. I know we're projected like 4 and 5, I think, preseason in the SEC or 5 and 6, something like that, like middle of the pack. But I mean, I haven't seen too much from like Tennessee. I think Kentucky's really good this year, but I had like watching Tennessee, like they don't do anything crazy. Um, just kind of like your standard Tennessee team, but I think A&M's good again. So I don't know. I think we'll kind of finish maybe 2 and 3. Maybe, it's y'all's turn. So like maybe 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 4, something like that.
Yeah, I think a team to start looking out for in the SEC basketball is Ole Miss. They
Really?
went and hired Chris Beard,
Mm-hmm.
who was fired, kind of like suspiciously fired from Texas, where they were. Uh, I don't remember if he was ever officially like accused. He was accused of some stuff. I don't know if any of that actually ended up coming up to fruition. I think they just kind of used that to get him out. Or
Yeah.
once that stuff started coming up, I think Texas kind of washed their hands with it and just fired him and got rid of him. He is an incredible coach.
Oh yeah, he was at
And
Houston, right? Before
I don't know that. I can look that up though. But they're 8-0 right now, which they played 7 home games already. So 7-0 at home, but still
Texas Tech. He's at Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
And they were really good a couple years ago, and they made the
That's right.
finals. He was
And
the
he
coach.
left Texas Tech to go to Texas.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
he's
he
phenomenal. If he
he's like
stays there,
he's the guy. Like
yeah.
he's if you ever land him, he's your guy.
I think Ole Miss was just one of the only teams that were really like willing to take a shot on him. And Auburn did the same thing with Bruce Pearl. Now we're doing the
Yeah.
same thing with Hugh Freeze, to where a lot of other schools were kind of like shot away from that, just kind of scared of the blowback that comes up with. But I don't think anybody even knows.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, with Bruce Pearl, like I don't think it was ever like an ethics thing with him. It's just kind of you know recruiting. Like if you can get an edge in recruiting, I can't remember exactly what the rules were that he broke. He was at Tennessee, so we definitely dogged him for it. But I
he
mean, he's
hosted a barbecue, I think is what
yeah,
it was.
that's right. And it is what it is. And I think he's actually a really good guy. I think, he's just a really good human being. So as much as I hate Auburn, he is a good guy and like, you know, fun to pull for. Like you want to see him have success. So it was kind of tough. Like, I don't know how many years he sat out. Um, but it's kind of like Hugh, like, I mean, I don't know how good of a guy Hugh is. I don't just know that really. I really don't know that much about him, to be honest. Not, I don't want to say I dislike him or like him or whatever, but it is just crazy how he like people were so scared to take a chance on him. And I think Greg Sankey kind of was like, "Hey, let's not. We're not going to just invite you back immediately." Which I kind of get, but you know, you pay your time, and yeah, I think he definitely ended up at a good spot.
Bruce Pearl's last year at Tennessee was 2010, 2011, and then his first year at Auburn was 2014, 2015. So like
Yeah,
2 to 3 year gap. Hugh probably had a longer gap, like out of the bigger schools, but I don't think
yeah.
Hugh was gone very long. He was at Liberty pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was pretty quick. Which Liberty is in Virginia for people who didn't know. I did not know that until like a week ago. It's
Wow,
like out in the middle of Virginia. If there's something that you don't know where it's at,
it's Virginia.
it's Virginia.
It's in the DMV, somewhere in that area.
Absolutely.
Like James
Absolutely.
Madison, I would have never guessed it was in. Which state is it technically in?
Virginia. It's
Okay.
almost in West Virginia. Like it's riding the line. There's an interstate that runs right through there. It's the one we take to get home. And it runs like parallel with West Virginia line in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Um, and West Virginia. But the yeah, it is technically in Virginia. Same thing
Eh,
with Old Dominion, where Verlander went, where the GOAT Taylor Heineke went. That is also in Virginia. Never would have known it. Never would have known it.
Have you changed your mind on Florida State yet?
I don't know, man. Like, what's his name? Danny, is it Danny Cannell? That is being a big baby on Twitter.
I don't know. I haven't really
He
seen
play. It's
anybody from their side.
I think that's his name. They're just being there now. It's like get over it at this point. Like, I mean, there's really nothing you can do about it. Like they're talking about sitting out the bowl game, which would just be a coward move, in my opinion.
No, I am in
Um,
favor of that.
no, I think
And I
you know,
wouldn't tell anybody.
go. I mean, I think just go prove it. Like if you're about that life, just go prove it. That's like it's like the committee or whoever does the bowls is like. I mean, they didn't know that there was going to be this much. I mean, they didn't know their reaction because it hadn't happened yet. But it's almost like, oh, so y'all think y'all are good enough in this? All right,
Yeah,
let's go.
recruiting is Georgia.
Let's go see. Like, what's up? Like, but so my thing is, I've seen this where if they're like the committee backs himself up against the wall like every time they make a move. And if like they move Alabama in for resume and all this stuff, um, or I guess quality wins or whatever, strength of schedule. Why is Florida State fifth and not sixth? Like I guess conference champion, but if you're going off the four best teams like they say they do, like you can't tell me that one loss Georgia is worse than no starting quarterback Florida State. After you thought they were number one, Georgia was number one all year. They lose it by three uh in a championship in an extra game. So it's like just consistency in their messaging would be nice, and like a better explanation would be great. I just, I don't know. I just the committee is really frustrating. So I get the frustration from Florida State fans, but I still think that they got it right.
Yeah, that's the same thing I'm kind of been beating the drum to is like just be consistent in it because right now, strength of schedule, there's two teams that are brought up, and it's Alabama, who has a top five strength of schedule, and it's Florida State, who's like 50th, whatever they are. Michigan is also at like 50th. Like
Yeah.
Michigan had, outside of Penn State and Ohio State, Michigan didn't play anybody. And to me, like Florida State is being punished for being in a bad conference because Michigan didn't schedule anybody outside of conference, like out of
Yeah.
conference. Florida State scheduled LSU. That's a big game. Alabama and Texas scheduled each other. Georgia didn't schedule anybody. Georgia had gone 3 years without losing. They don't have to. Same.
Georgia backed out of their out of conference game, just so that's clear.
I think
Like
Michigan did too.
they were supposed to play Oklahoma, and there was, whatever with the SEC come in, like Alabama and Texas did it, but Georgia and Oklahoma backed away from each other, just so like they could have had a better schedule and decided not to.
Yeah, I think going into the year, Georgia and Michigan were both like, Michigan's definitely like, all we got to do is beat Ohio State and Penn State, and we're in.
Yep.
And Georgia's like, all we got to do is win the SEC, and we're in. And which, I mean, I guess you could say Georgia's earned that right because during Bama's prime years, they were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like they weren't playing anybody. They didn't have to. They were the champions.
They would
You
play.
have to
Yeah.
dethrone them.
They would play a nobody from, the ACC game one, like Virginia Tech or Duke, or like go play, terrible USC. You know what I mean? And then, that would be like their best game out of conference and just roll on with it.
And I'm not even really like Alabama's the SEC champion. I think they deserve to be in. But like Washington, do you really think Washington has a chance to win the whole thing? Who do you think has a better chance of winning the whole thing, Georgia or Washington?
Georgia.
So if we're trying to field the most competitive bracket, Georgia should be in there for Washington because I think if Georgia's in and Washington plays, I think both of those spreads are within 2.5 points, like both games. And then the championship game is within 3 points or so. Like
Yeah.
even at your biggest mismatch, it's still close and you're putting together four competitive games, which is what I think they're wanting after last year, TCU just getting dog walked. But
Yeah.
then again, everyone keeps forgetting TCU beat Michigan. Like
Yeah.
TCU wasn't like the Cincinnati story to where we
Right.
let a small team in. Like TCU beat Michigan to get there into the national championship game. And then if you want to be dead honest, I think Georgia beats anybody in the country like they did TCU because they were doing stuff they didn't do all year. Like I think Georgia,
Everybody.
everybody.
I don't
Maybe
know.
not that bad. Because I think Max Duggan was on his last leg.
I think Alabama makes it pretty close last year.
I don't know. I think Georgia kept a lot of stuff close to their vest and played games close throughout the whole year without really showing anything. And then it was just like in the national championship game, they were just doing some crazy stuff. Like they just let the playbook wide open. It was like, we're just going to run this thing up.
Yeah. Well, I think they knew that, athletically, they were just way better than TCU and could just do whatever they wanted. So it's like might as well have fun with it. But like so the TCU thing for me, whenever I hear that brought up, makes like brings up two things. Like I get like yes, they won a game. They were also, kind of like a I mean, they lost their conference championship, so I don't want to say like they were hot, but like they were a hot team, even though they lost that game. Like it was a rematch. But up until then, like they were just, winning a lot of big games in a row and then get to the Michigan game, like just out compete them. So like I'm totally cool with that. Like I had no problem with TCU getting in last year. I think it was I remember being kind of upset or not upset, but like making a point where like Alabama should be in, but they also had two losses that were really big losses. And that was where like I had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, you can't compare a schedule off of like your good losses. So I just remember that. But the second point I want to get to is this Michigan team is the same Michigan team with a worse O line. This year is a worse O line. So like you know what I mean? Like, how are we not looking at this team like, okay, they got beat by TCU in the playoff last year. They played absolutely nobody. They were caught cheating twice, and we're not even gonna question do they belong? Or, what about Washington? Like, I know the Pac-12 was kind of, a gauntlet, but like Utah was down. USC ended up not being as good as people thought that they would be, and Oregon kind of I mean, I don't want to say fake their way, but I mean, they really didn't play a lot of super competitive games. And then when they do, they lost. So, I just don't, it's tough. Um, they just get the benefit of the doubt and Florida State doesn't. So, like, I think Florida State's mad at Alabama for like Alabama or SEC bias when really like you should be mad at the committee and the other two undefeated teams for getting the benefit of the doubt. I don't think the blame is on like this conspiracy to get Alabama into the playoff.
Yeah. Like Michigan, you just said their offensive line is worse than last year, and they just lost an offensive lineman like during I think it was during the Ohio State game.
Yeah,
Another like key offensive lineman.
like a
So
draft pick.
yeah. So like, but nobody's even bringing that up. Nobody. All we're talking about is Florida State, and my problem with it is I think the committee has to do it on the most deserving teams because I don't think you can actually tell who the best teams are. Like you give it to Vegas. Vegas had Oregon as 9.5 point favorites to Washington, and they lost outright. Like Georgia was a touchdown favorite over Alabama by the time the line closed. Alabama won.
Yeah,
So like you can't. That's why you have to play the game. That's why I thought Florida State was going to get in, just because I think that the committee had more to like back themselves with of like, hey, this team went undefeated. There's 130 something teams in college football. Four of them went undefeated. Let's just put those four in. Who cares if it's Liberty and Florida State?
yeah,
But then I think the championship game last year, if it wouldn't have happened the way it did, I think that's probably what you would have seen as Florida State and probably Texas.
yeah,
But I think that's just scarred the committee, and now they're just kind of in shambles. Where they're like, we don't want to have 78 Georgia fans being the only people watching the national championship game after the
yeah,
first quarter.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's a good point, and I just, they just backed themselves into a wall, thinking that like things were going to play out, thinking that Oregon was going to get their revenge and Georgia was going to win out. So Washington and Alabama could be out of there. And then it would be Texas and um, Florida State. And it would just be no questions asked. Ohio State's right there at 5. And, Washington, Alabama was with the other two lost teams or
Yeah.
whatever. And it didn't happen that way. And then they're kind of probably all looking at each other like, hmm, you know, like what do we do now? And I think you can definitely tell because they were afraid to answer questions. I mean, they would not on Bo Boo Boo or whatever his name is comes on game day for like literally no reason. last Saturday, and Chris Davis is like, "Hey, you know, what do you think has to happen here for Alabama to get into the playoff?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're just really gonna watch the games and evaluate." It's like, dude, answer these questions. Like, I mean, this isn't like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like Nick Saban's like, "Oh, so we need to run it up on Georgia to get in." Okay, bet. Let's do it. Let's go with that plan. Like, what are we talking? Like, just answer the questions. But I think that's why they backed themselves into a corner to where like they only could make wrong decisions. Like there was no right decision to make, and I think they knew it.
Yeah, and if they want to just go like, hey, we're gonna try to put the four best team based on eye test alone, like say that up front and let teams just run it up on people.
Yeah,
Like I did see Dan Mullen had a pretty good rant about this, talking about the Florida State controversy, and he's like, the backup played, you have this starter, you have your offense built around this amazing quarterback. He gets hurt. You put the backup in, he plays one game, then he gets hurt. You need a third string and he gets hurt, or he plays, only has 1 week to prepare. Like imagine if that backup has a month to prepare for this game with their defense, who is very good.
yeah,
They've got two of the best wide receivers in the country, and arguably, Keon Coleman's top three at least.
for sure.
And yeah, like just could you imagine how much different that offense would look after a whole month to prepare when they really only had a week to prepare before the conference championship game? So like
Yeah,
that's where it's just kind of unfair to where like you can't really predict the way it will look. And even like Georgia in a month, how healthy would Georgia be?
yeah,
That offense would look way better with Bowers having another month to rest and McConkey. Dude, McConkey looked bad. Like every time
yeah.
he went down, he was like limping off the field. Like that was almost sad. I felt like I was watching an old dog play his last game.
Dude, seriously.
It's like
And
Airbud 41.
it's
What
just
I felt like I was
crazy.
watching.
Like he was like he hit like a little comeback hitch on Kool-Aid, I think, or maybe it was Terry on Arnold, catches it, runs out of bounds or whatever, and he like starts barking at whoever the cornerback was. And I'm like, lad, bro, you're kind of hurt. And then, a couple of drives later, he's like not even in there. I'm like, dude, like, why are you like poking the bear? You know what I mean? You're not gonna be able to play. I don't know. I thought that was pretty. That's just one thing I saw. I thought it was funny. Um, but yeah. I mean, no, that's a good point. Like, you give that Georgia offense another couple weeks to heal up. I mean, that tightrope surgery, is effective, but when you come back early, like Brock Bowers did, and you never let it really fully heal, you're just gonna kind of be limited for longer than you should be. And I think that's kind of what happened to him. I don't know what Ladd was dealing with, but similar thing. Anything with the ankle or leg, lower leg needs time. You're not just going to be able to throw a band-aid on it and get out there.
Last college football thing, Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman tonight. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not. I think the most surprising thing is Michael Penix finishing second over Bo Nix. I think that's pretty surprising. Um, but I mean, Michael Penix was good at playing quarterback. Like, I think a lot of people held him back because of his inability to use his legs. Um, So I don't know. I mean, that I think that's just the thing in college. Like you compare with like throwing stats for quarterbacks in the NFL, like you never really look at like what they do with their legs, but the college game, like there are a lot more mobile quarterbacks out there. And like people like Jade Daniels, who isn't very like physical, is also really effective in the running game. So I think you have to calculate that in there. So I think Michael Penix being second is probably the more surprising thing than Jaden Jalen Jaden Jalen Jaden
Jaden.
Jaden Daniels winning it.
Yeah, I kind of saw Jaden Daniels winning it. I know Bo Nix was the favorite to win it going into that conference championship game, but I think that was because people thought he's going to go win that game and he's going to put his stamp on it, and he was in the driver's seat for it. But at the end of the day, Jaden Daniels had one of the best seasons we've seen.
Yeah,
So I think he was very deserving of it, and I kind of fell into that same trap. I was looking at Carson Beck's stats. Like this dude is like kind of underrated throughout the year. Like nobody's talking about him. I almost put a future on him because I was like, nobody was standing out really at that point. Like
Yeah.
this was before LSU would pick up their third loss. And Jaden Daniels was still doing his thing, but Carson Beck was still kind of like stats wise, he was right up there with everybody. And I was like, I might throw a future on him because if Georgia wins out and he's the quarterback of their team, he's gonna get invited.
Yeah.
So then end of the year, I was like, I wonder how he ended up looking. So I was comparing him to Milrow. I was like, oh, he blows Milrow out of the water. And
Yeah.
then I scroll down and I look at rushing stats, and I'm like, wait a minute, Milrow had a much better year than he did. Milrow's got like 1,200 yards rushing or something like that, like something
Yeah.
crazy.
And I mean, you don't even think of him as like a read option kind of guy. Like he doesn't have, probably has 3 or 4, maybe 5 at the most, like quarterback run plays in a game. It's like it's all just like scrambling, really.
Yeah, he's got
Um,
the Jalen Hurts run
yep.
going on.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just it's something to watch, like especially for play, like when you're looking at it's different when you're looking at like NFL potential. You don't really want to pay as much attention to the rushing stats because it's just different. In the NFL, like not even Jalen Hurts really runs that much, and he's a very effective runner. Um, it's good to be effective. Like Joe Burrow is good at improvising and stuff like that. But at the same time, for like a draft pick, you want to be looking at how good are they at playing quarterback and being a leader. But in the college game, I think if you can keep defenses balanced with your run game, like you're nasty.
Yeah, he didn't have like I was exaggerating 1,200 yards. I do think he had like double digit touchdowns though.
Yeah, he did a lot of tush pushes in there.
Yeah,
But
whatever
hey, I
works.
mean, if you do it, you do it, man.
Baseball. The evil empire strikes again. We are so back.
Yeah, I
Going and getting the guy.
Juan Soto. I mean, I think he's a perfect fit.
I did hear he's an ex Red Sox. It might have been Middlebrooks talking about it, and it did kind of have me thinking. He was like, Soto starts struggling when he's trying to pull the ball. He was like, the reason righties like Judge are so effective in Yankee Stadium is because Judge can't get beat by a fastball. He sets off speed. If you throw a fastball, he just peppers it over that right field wall.
Yeah.
So he's like, Soto, if he gets into a habit of trying to yank the ball out of the right field, then he might struggle for a while. But I was like, of course, a Red Sox guy is gonna just wreck my brain when I'm on cloud nine, looking down on everybody in the division. Like we just got a 25-year-old stud. Like the Orioles got this young core. Juan Soto's younger than Adley Rutschman. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
He's younger than Bo Bichette. Like everybody you've got, this guy's younger. If we can lock him up, maybe he falls in love in New York. Maybe we sign him to an extension. I doubt it because Boris is his agent. So I would bet a lot of money that he goes to free agency and signs the biggest deal. But we've got some money falling off the books after this year. So maybe we can match whatever the highest bidder is or go over.
I hope so, man. I really do think, I don't mean this lightly. I think that if we can get him extended, I think he is going to be not as good as A Rod, but like a Rod type sign where his best years, which I mean, obviously you said he's still young, but like he's already won a World Series and had like a great playoff run with the Nationals in 2019, goes to a different team, doesn't work out. Get him to his third team. He's going to have his best years. He has it figured out in a favorable part for him. Even his style of hitting, though, that backside gap is massive. Like, so
Yep.
you're just looking at that backside gap, and if you catch one outside, I mean, and they know that. I mean, he knows that he's a good hitter. He's very smart. He's very educated on hitting. Like, I think this could be potentially like the A Rod type player or signee of this kind of generation. uh, where like him and Judge or like, Jeter, A-Rod, like then they carry your team. Like that's what you build your team around. And then you also have Garrett Cole. So I don't know, man. I'm very excited. It's been hard to pull for the Yankees. It really has. Like, I feel like every week it was just somebody was making fun of, like something would happen and we get made fun of. Like Garrett Cole with the spider attack a couple years back, and now he wins a Cy Young with no spider attack. So like, where are the haters at? Nobody even talks about it.
They're quiet. The
He's the
haters are
best
very
pitcher in
quiet.
baseball. I don't know what they pay him. I know it's a lot. I can't remember what the contract was off the top of my head, but absolutely worth it. Every penny. So I think that Soto is a guy that we need to keep, and we need to make sure, like, we need to make it fit. Um, and we need to make it work. So I don't know, man. I like our squad. I think, after this year, maybe he sees potential with, maybe we can dump some of the older guys and get back to the Bronx Bombers again.
He's led the league in walks the last 3 years. Like I've seen stats to where him drawing walks, the only two guys you can compare him to is Barry Bonds and Babe Ruth.
He's ridiculous. Ridiculous. You know how everybody talked, he was getting hated on last year for having like a slow start, and then you
Mm-hmm.
look like a month later, nobody's talking about it, and he's like leading the league, or not leading the league, but top outfielders in average, and leads the league in walks. And it's like, where are all these people at? Like, yeah, he just had a slump, and they were like, the Padres are terrible. It's like nobody even paid attention to how good of a year he had, and offensively. And I don't know, man. I love his style of play. I love how he doesn't, he's not scared. He does the little shuffle or whatever. And I just think that's like the perfect, like, Yankee mentality. I think, like, you know, I'm better than you because I showed up today and I'm going to prove it to you. You know what I mean? Like, I love him.
Yeah, he finished the year 275, 410, 930 OPS. A 410 on base percentage. Every
Ladies,
year he's been over 400 every single year since he got called up.
for people who don't know OPS, so like growing up, you think, um, hitting 300 average is really good. So
The old people think that.
equate that to 800 OPS. Anything over 800 is really good. Um,
Or say
nine
900.
well,
Say
yeah,
900.
850. I would say 850, 900. If your 850 is maybe, like 275, with a little bit of pop maybe, but like, if you're a 900, like you're we'll say above average plus offensive bat, and then if you're in the thousands, you're an MVP. So just for reference. And what was his OPS again? One more time.
910,
Yeah. So definitely
930.
definitely above average. And the OPS is on base plus slugging. So it's a little bit, but it tells you more of the story of how you are offensively, better than just hard line outs, to the shortstop,
Yeah.
and that's
And
an
like
out.
it's just a better judge of like actual hitting instead of like batting average, like a dude that hits three singles with nobody on bases, like nobody on base through 10 at bats, really isn't helping his team very much. But he would have a 300 batting average, and you would think he was very good to where slugging weighs like doubles and triples and home runs and more. So you get the benefit of the doubt for actually getting extra base hits and actually like creating runs for your team instead of just kind of like slap hitting a ball through the infield when it doesn't really matter. His uh
Right.
his OPS, his first year was 2018. He was 19. He had a 923 OPS. The next year is 949. The
Jeez.
next year is 1,185. Then
Woo.
999, 853, which was the year he got traded, and then 930 last year.
Unreal.
Insane.
Unreal.
I mean, there's an argument that the Yankees now have the two best hitters in baseball
Absolutely. And the best pitcher.
and the best pitcher. And we're fixing to go get Yamamoto.
Yeah, you think that's
Hopefully.
in the cards? You think What do you
I
think?
think we're the I think we're the odds on front runner to get him.
I hope so. Speaking about Japanese players, what do you think about the Otani to the Dodgers? 10 years, 700 mil.
Dude.
What's your thoughts?
I know whenever he was first, like when free agency first started or leading up to free agency, everyone said he's going to be the first 500 million guy. He just got paid $700 million. Like that is the third highest contract of all time is Judge, I'm pretty sure. Trout's like 426. Judge is like 360, I think. That's two of those. Two of the third biggest contracts of all time. Like that's insane how much money that is.
Ridiculous.
And I'm a guy that says baseball, I don't care about the salary cap. Like I want my team spending as much money possible to get the best team out there. But $700 million is going to put you in salary tax hell for the next 10 years.
Yeah. He's getting paid like what the Rays are paying their entire staff.
He will make more than 8 teams, which I've also seen that he's deferring majority of it. So he's basically going to get paid for the rest of his life, and his kids are going to get paid for the rest of their life probably. That way they can keep it off the books. Kind of the same thing like the Bobby Bonilla thing that you see
Yeah.
come up every April 1st where he makes $1 million or whatever.
Yeah. It's just uh it's just crazy to me. I mean, you're paying a DH that throws every 5 days. I mean, I get, the past 2 years he's been at the, top ERA or, whatever stats he's been the top of. He throws hard, he hits it hard, but I, I just don't see, to me, if I'm a GM and an owner and I have the chance to get Otani, I'm probably not doing it. I don't see that value for me. The Dodgers, whatever. But I mean, he just had Tommy John, so he's going to be out. He had his second Tommy John. I don't know what the numbers are with that. How many Tommy Johns you can have. I think you can. I mean, at some point they're going to be taking ligaments from pigs or something like.
From other people.
Yeah.
Like you pay him
So
700 million and you're the owner, you better be giving up your Tommy John
yeah.
for him to throw it
So
in there.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe they should. Maybe they should get a Tommy John from somebody else because like his ligaments just ain't working. I mean, there's other people that throw harder than him that haven't had Tommy John, so it's not like he's an anomaly or anything. But I don't get it. I just he's a DH. He hits it well. Yes, he hits a lot of home runs. Like he's a good player. He's fast, but he's also I think 30. How old is he?
I can look it up. I want to say you're right though. I want to say he's like 29 to 31 ish. See, Shohei Otani age. Of course, mine ain't gonna work.
He's 29. His
Okay.
birthday is July 5th.
Shout out.
So yeah, shout out.
One
Uh,
day after the Independence Day.
yeah, I think that's Lost Dog National Lost Dog Day. So they all run away because of the fireworks.
Mm.
Um, the but yeah, I just don't get it. I don't. You're gonna tell me he's gonna do all like he's gonna play as this physical player until he's 40. I mean, he has. I mean, most players kind of fall off after 35. I think is the usual kind of like they're not going to be as great. They might hit, like Nelson Cruz, is kind of an anomaly, I think, but, hitting 40 home runs or something at 38. But I don't see him doing it. He definitely won't pitch that long. He's probably what, 3 more years of pitching as a starter. Maybe he can go to as a closer or a relief pitcher, but I mean, paying a DH, and ultimately he's going to be a DH only, and you're going to be paying him that much. I don't get it. I just don't. I don't agree with it. I don't think that's. I just don't think it's necessary. I just for such a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think if I'm the Dodgers, I think I definitely have some opt outs in there that are kind of like injury based, just in case to save my butt. So in case he does go down, I don't have to pay him. Like you said, if he hurts his arm, in 2 years, 3 years, and ends up he can't ever pitch again, you're gonna pay a guy 70 million a year technically to be a DH, or you're gonna pay a guy, what would that be, like $600 million left over the next 8 years? Like, no, you can't do that.
No. I think especially for the Dodgers, like I just think this is like the downfall of their reign, I think. Um like in 5 years we'll look back at this signing and be like, what were they doing?
When Freddie and Mookie and Shohei are all old and
Because they're all, I
worn
mean,
out.
Mookie and Freddie ain't young. Like, and you sign a guy like this, like I know you had said that, you only need to win one World Series to make it all worth it. But I mean, you sign all these guys like this. I mean, I really think you have to win two or three, and then you can sit back and say, like, we did it, this was worth it. And I think that's fair, but I mean, you at least have to play for 4 World Series over the next 10 years for it to be worth it, I think. I mean, it's just crazy. I, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Yeah, go off. I will have this posted on Facebook. Go off in the comments. How many World Series do you think the Dodgers have to win with Ohtani over this contract of the next 10 years for it to be worth it? I've said one, just because I say throw all your chips in the basket if you win a World Series. Who cares what the next 9 years look like? Then you bounce back and try to do it again. Like if your team wins a World Series every 10 years, I think that would keep the fan base pretty happy.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I would definitely sign up for it if the Braves were like, hey, or the Yankees even like, hey, every 10 years we are guaranteed um a World Series, and 3 out of the 10 years we make it. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
So
And the other 7 years you suck. It's like,
that's
okay,
fine.
so what?
I mean, the Dodgers kind of did that, but I mean, not the Dodgers, the Giants did that, but it was on an every other year basis there for a little bit for 6 years, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, 10, 12, and 14.
We'll just be really good, and then we'll not make the playoffs, and then we'll be really good, and then not make the playoffs. Oh, and then one more time we'll be really good.
Because Bumgarner like wins the World Series and it's like the best pitching performance we've ever seen, and then he, like gets trucked by a horse in the parade celebrating, and then he's hurt for a year, then he comes back and he greatest pitching performance we've ever seen in the World Series, and we win, and he wrecks his four-wheeler during the parade and he's out for a year, and then they win the World Series, and him and his wife Madison Bumgarner get married and go on a honeymoon, and they haven't been the same since.
Uh, oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, just thinking about people's like second life, I guess, to sports, like Jokic or whatever for the Nuggets. He's big into horse racing. I think he owns a horse, but like Bumgarner being like a rodeo guy, like that's like the biggest like plot twist. Like, bro, you're a major league pitcher. You're not just a major league pitcher. There for a long time, for like a decade, you are known as the best postseason pitcher of all time. And you also do rodeo in the off season, like you're a rodeo bull rider, horse, whatever. I mean, dude just gets it out the mud, man. He's just got that too much dog in him.
He was having to go. There was pictures of him leaking of him being undercover at rodeos and stuff because the Dodgers were already like, dude, you have to quit doing this. We're paying you way too much money to get hurt on a horse. And then
It's
I still can't get
ridiculous.
over him marrying a girl named Madison when his name is Madison. Like that has to be rule number one of what you cannot do. Like
Yeah.
what do y'all call each other? Madison? Surely not. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. I don't know if I could go to their house if they invited me over. I don't know if I could. And just, hey, Madison,
Pass me the greens.
Madison.
Both of them reach for the bowl.
Uh, I don't know, man. What a weird guy. Highway throws so weird.
He fell off so fast.
He really did. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Fall off fast like that.
Yeah, just to fall off.
I mean, there's a World Series where he had 2 wins and a save. You only got to win 4 games. Like he was a starting pitcher. He had something to do with 3 of them.
He's crazy.
I want to say he pitched like 25 innings that series. It's like that shouldn't even be possible.
I do miss the Giants though. I miss them being good. I think baseball's cool when they're good, just because they have a cool stadium,
They do have a cool stadium.
good fans.
Red Rhino, shout out.
Shout out.
Getting paid $250,000 work at Barstool as a 16-year-old. That boy. That's the old Rico Bosco bit. He's like, I can't get paid because we're paying Red Rhino, who's a junior in high school, $250,000 to promote this one shirt. Dave's like, Rico, he hasn't made a dime. He's still in high school.
Rico cracks me up.
Unbelievable.
Hey, we're almost to Jersey Jerry March too. I'm so pumped.
Have you
That's
watched
my
Surviving Barstool?
I've seen clips. I haven't like sat down and watched it yet.
It's well worth the $10. The first episode alone is worth $10.
I saw the
Wait,
clips of Tommy Smokes getting the immunity idol or whatever. He just pulls
dude,
it out and he's like, "What do y'all think? I'm dumb?" You know? This big cat ends up getting voted.
he had Dave flip on Big Cat, who is his number one guy.
Uh, oh
There's
man.
been a lot of that. I mean, no spoilers because it is well worth $10.
Oh yeah.
You got to go
Sorry.
by it.
Sorry
No, I
for
mean
the spoilers, but
that's
I
the
mean
first
that
episode.
that was like their preview. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's already seen that.
Oh my goodness.
Jerry talking to Gaz. The Gaz actually texts Jerry, says we got to kill Jerry, and Jerry brings him in there, and he's like, you texted me. I was on the text chain. He goes, yeah, I was saying like we got to kill Jerry, and he goes, I'm Jerry. Unbelievable. He said, what is this guy on Pluto?
Dude, Jerry is the funniest dude at Barcel. It's maybe besides Tommy, but like it's like Tommy's one, Jerry's two. I just can't. He's so funny, dude. He's so
You,
funny. On Sports Advisors, he gets me cracking up.
he's unbelievable in there. And he started doing Jerry After Dark. Late at night, if you're bored, just check it on YouTube if he's on there. The other day, he was kicking a soccer ball, and in the comments, all you saw that was spammed was Jerry Rapino. And he was like, quit calling me Jerry Rapino.
He
He was
said,
like, block it.
he said, mods, can we block all the people spending Jerry God, he's so good, dude. I am
He's,
March. I
he's
am
unbelievable.
March. Uh,
Well,
oh, Jerry, shout out, man. I love you.
shout out Jersey.
Jersey Jerry. What's up with
We
dudes from Pittsburgh just being hilarious? Like Pat McAfee, too. Just hysterical.
is Pat from Pittsburgh or is he? Yeah, he's
Oh,
from
yeah.
Pittsburgh, went to West Virginia.
Yeah. They're like real close, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just right across the state line.
Well, we said we were going to touch on basketball this episode. I think we did. And then we kind of got lucky with the Otani news and I think and the Soto news. I think with Otani signing, now I think you'll kind of see more of the bigger free agents starting to go. I think he kind of sets the market. And now I think everybody else will kind of just fall in line. You'll start seeing more things happen in the winter meetings up the next couple weeks.
For sure.
Hopefully Yankees get some more pitching. Where are the Braves after?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Anthopoulos. I mean, we just went and I feel like we dumped a bunch a couple weeks ago to get somebody. I just can't remember. I've been so caught up in the SEC championship and the Iron Bowl and everything just has wiped my mind. I can't remember, but I know we just did a deal with the Mariners that we got that young guy, young outfielder. And now I feel like we have too many outfielders. So
Hellenic.
I don't know what we're doing, but I guess you can never have too many outfielders. Um, I don't know. I don't know. But I trust Anthopoulos. I think he's one of the best in the game. So I mean, he gets us. I feel like he gets us the best squad every year, especially at trade deadline. I mean, after that, I mean, it's like we start rolling. But so I trust him. I think he's going to put us in a good spot for sure. He doesn't miss very much.
Yeah, he's done a great job so far.
So I don't know, man. Alabama basketball's got a big week coming up. I think we play Creighton and Arizona.
Y'all
Um,
played both of them this week?
I believe so. I'll get the dates for you real quick. I know it's back to back.
Yeah, I knew they were back to back. I
Um,
thought one of them was Saturday,
so
but I
okay,
could be
yeah,
wrong.
no, it's next week. Creighton Saturday, the 16th, and then Arizona in Phoenix. So we got at
Next Wednesday.
Creighton, and then we get at Arizona in Phoenix next Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern time. So that'll be cool.
Drink your coffee late.
Oh man, that's gonna be brutal. Oh, I think I'm off that week.
Yeah,
Perfect.
12:20. Maybe people are off.
I'm off that week, and I'll be home. So that's 10 o'clock. Oh, great, great.
Look at these hoodies we got too.
That's electric.
White,
Shout out.
white glove works. I don't know why my entire body just disappeared, but
It's all
real
right.
buff. All right. I appreciate everybody listening. We're thankful this week.
Oh
Love you
yeah.
guys.
Hashtag